it's been a while, so you're gonna have to bear with me because I haven't done this for probably over a year now, maybe a bit longer. Um, but yeah, I'm back. I'm doing it on my own. For the first time since I can remember. But I didn't want to just put out stuff just for putting it out. But that also being said, this week from starting Monday 15th, for this week it's Mental Health Awareness Week. And for the longest time I've always said, it's all good to do it for the week and spread awareness, but obviously it's more than a week. It's more than a month, it's more than a year, it's forever. As someone who has battled through depression, um, struggled with anxiety and whatnot, it's an ongoing issue, an ongoing battle, an ongoing journey that we're forever going through. And it doesn't just stop after a week. You don't just think, oh, I've done my bit, I put my green ribbon up. Fuck that. Make sure you check on your mates, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, your aunties, your uncles. You make sure that they're doing okay. And it's not just, hey, are you okay? You okay? You got to do more than that. You got to literally, sometimes you have to keep poking and poking and poking until the barriers come down and the walls come crumbling down and things open, and the guard is down, everything's down. It's just down. Say down a bit more. And then you get the true worth. You get the true story from those that you care about. And for the longest time I used to suffer in silence. I used to suffer on my own. Big, strong, hard man. Don't talk about my feelings. No, not at all. I'm not going to tell you that I'm really feeling shit inside, that I'm going to keep fighting myself until I get better. Man. Bollocks. Fucking bollocks. It is bollocks. Because no matter how big, no matter how strong, no matter where you are in the world or what part of your life you think that you're in, something could happen and something could drag you down. Tyson Fury, for example. Baddest man on the planet. Heavyweight champion of the world. Wanted to commit suicide. Wanted to end it all. Couldn't cope with He couldn't cope with where he got to in his life. He completed it. In his mind, he completed it. And he didn't know what to do. It's done. Completed. It's over. Now what? And he almost took his own life, and by his own admission, he felt like he had the grace of God that stopped him. I'm all for that. Each to their own. I'm not a believer as such. I'm not spiritual in that way, but if you believe in a divine power that stopped you from doing it, fucking so be it. Bosh. But it can affect anybody, like I just said. And I thought I could trundle on through, trample my way through life, just going on about however I was going on. And I didn't realize the effect that I was having on the people around me. Definitely didn't. And it was shit. I was awful. I was a cunt. I was horrible to the people I love and care about the most. And I almost lost it all. Almost lost it all. But, fast forward, podcast is sorted this right out. That alongside actually doing some phys. Went to the gym this morning. I'm going to do another session later on this evening. But it goes hand in hand. When you feel good about yourself, physically, going to the gym, for a long period, well, I still do now. If I get a bit down and low, I eat my feelings. I'm an eater. I always have been an eater. I put on weight, and then I feel worse about myself because I look at myself in the mirror and go, "Fuck, you fat cunt, sort your life out." And then it's when you get that spark and that motivation, that drive to go, I don't want to be that guy that I see in the mirror. I want to sort my life out. I'll go to the gym. And then, once you start going to the gym, you start feeling better about yourself, the positive endorphins into the mind. You're back on the straight and narrow. Um, it's it's peaks and troughs, you know. Um, it's a roller coaster, and you're not always going to be in a state of mind where you are always good. You know, I hope she doesn't mind me saying about it, but my wife lately um, started her brand new salon that's hers. Her baby, her dream has finally come true. But she felt bad, you know, starting out on her own. She felt, well, not bad. She was stressed because, will it be successful? She was stressed, will I get my clients in? She was stressed, stressed. And when the clients were coming in and everything was hunky dory and going spot on and going well, then the imposter syndrome kicked in. People giving her compliments. She was like, oh, like water for duck's back. It wasn't clicking in her head. But now she's good. She's good, which is awesome. But you've got to be there still for your loved ones. Um, Sometimes it takes more than one question, like I said. Definitely. But for the last few weeks, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for myself in terms of getting the podcast to where I want it to be, to where I think it should be. We're sort of stuck in a loop now, but you know, it- all I've got to do is keep trucking on and keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to put out episodes just for the sake of it. I don't want to keep doing like this, talking myself for a few minutes because that gets stale and stagnant. I like to have the interaction. It's been a while for me to come down to the shed and speak on my own. Um, but it is how I started the podcast. So not a lot of people can do that, I guess. Um, but that also being said, the podcast has come on a long way since episode one, day one, week one. That was a impromptu. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to name it after my call sign that I used predominantly on tour, which also has a double meaning. Granite Zero. Granite's a rock. Zero is the bottom. Rock bottom. Um, but yeah, I let a lot of emotions out on that one. I literally just purged and just, you know, verbal diarrhea. No really structure to what I was saying or doing. But it also helped. It helped me kick it all off. And fast forward, we're in the fourth year, um, and I've had some fucking brilliant guests, and I'm humbled at the guests that I have had. World champion fighters, doctors, nurses, police officers, directors, musicians, comedians. I've got an endless eclectic range of different guests that I've had on. Some didn't go the way that I wanted. Some have also said they were going to do it and then didn't turn up. You know, it is what it is. But I've put some requests out, and it's like, sorry, you're just too small for me. I've 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 got a reputation and thousands of followers. Can't go on your tiny little podcast. Who are you? Who are you? Exactly. I'm the fucking Don. Don't you know who I am? Fucking Granite Zero, mate. But, you know, all it takes is one to sort of give you the opportunity. For example, Leah Galton plays for Manchester United ladies, who recently came runners up in the FA Cup, top of the Premier League in the women's football at the minute. Recently player of the month for Manchester United. You know, she's moved on to bigger and better things now, and some might say it all started episode 54, Granite Zero podcast. So yeah. But you know, sometimes I get the when I see these sort of, well, what's your demographic? What's your audience levels? Why does that matter? Have a conversation with someone. Even though I'm small, you know, you might make me a bit bigger. Woo. Give a brother a chance. You know, I've had some fucking incredible guests that have actually given me the chance. Some of which with a blue tick, you know, some of which thousands of followers. All you got to do. But what I'm trying to get at is, you know, sometimes things go a bit slow, and when it goes slow, then I get disheartened, and when I get disheartened, I want to stop the podcast. And it's when I actually look back and think of why I started the podcast, and that's the big thing that people have got to remember, is the why. Why did you start something? And you know, is your why big enough to keep you going? If it is, you keep it going. If it isn't, then it's time to put it to one side. What you can't keep doing is posting on social media and things like that. Oh, I'm going to stop now. Oh, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to do this now. I'm doing this now, and it's exactly the same as what you were doing. You're just looking for a bit of attention. You know, stick to what you're doing. If your why is big, just keep trucking at it. There's reasons why you start things and reasons why you keep it going. If you feel that it's not going to continue to grow in that way, the way that you think it is, because you think that you're some sort of super influencer, you're probably not. You probably need to just have a little look at yourself. You know, I'm in no delusion of how big the podcast is or my listeners or whatever. I'm still a tiny podcast in a shed with a handful of listeners and viewers, that do listen and do give me great feedback, and that's all I hope for. The reason why I started it was to air my demons, to air my darkness, to air my thoughts and feelings, and how I feel and how my mental health is being affected. And for the large part, the podcast has been a million times more successful in fixing my own mind. Maybe fixing others, I don't know. If I fix one person, my job is done. But like I said, it's always been about the journey, and the journey is ongoing. And because it's ongoing, the podcast is still going, because it is still my outlet to get me into the groove that I need to be in. Simple as that. Simple as that. And one thing that has come from the podcast that has actually grown bigger than I thought it would be, and that is the FC Granite Zero football team. Now, you've probably seen posts if you listen regularly enough, or you follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and bullshit like that. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm cool. Um, you you know that 2 years ago I started FC Granite Zero, and we support and raise money for Rock to Recovery. And I know what a lot of people say, and a lot of people said this from the start, and it's not true. Is Rock to Recovery is a Marines charity? It's not. It is. It runs alongside the Royal Marines charity, but it is a completely different entity. Um, and they help people no matter the cap badge, 100%. Charlie, who's running it, I think he's stepping aside come next year. I'm retiring and moving on, and others are moving in. You know, he has been breathtakingly brilliant to talk to work with, alongside, whatever you might want to say, with FC Granite Zero and what we try and do for Rock to Recovery. I know they have big names and big events going on that sort of eclipse others, but each and every event, challenge, match is all treated equally by Charlie and the Rock to Recovery team. Whether it is FC Granite Zero versus Sands United, or if it's taking on 6 different challenges in 6 months or whatever. You know, each one is individual and each one is given the respect that it deserves. And I love that. And I love the fact that they don't take cap badge into consideration. They believe wholeheartedly in the veteran community and the serving community, but not only military wise, but blue light service and emergency services get as much back from Rock to Recovery as the military. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I want to do more. I'm going to try and do some more in terms of giving back. I've got a couple of ideas in my head. I probably won't discuss them because the one that I do want to discuss is the upcoming football match. Now, the 2nd of July this year, once again, FC Granite Zero putting on a match against another charity team. Now, both these charities are very, very dear to my heart. As I've already said, Rock to Recovery are fantastically brilliant at what they do and what they provide, which is why FC Granite Zero will be representing Rock to Recovery in the match, and hopefully getting as much money raised to help aid in any way that it can be used for. The other team that we're playing are Sands United. Some representatives from Sands will be coming on the podcast to discuss, but obviously it is a charity that is needed, and it's a charity that is close to my heart in terms of a very close friend of mine and family, and that's Sands, which help stillborn and neonatal deaths, which nobody expects, and it's heartbreaking to know that a beautiful life is coming into the world and doesn't. And Sands United are for mainly for the dads, because obviously Sands itself do deal with parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever needs the support. But obviously, in a large scale, mothers are the ones that need the support the most. And men, being men, want to be big, want to stuff down those feelings. But sometimes they need an outlet. Sometimes they need something. And for a lot of men, football is that outlet. And Sands United have come together with all these dads that have tragically one thing in common: and they play football. Now, I can take a lot from that. Myself personally, not to the extent where it was stillborn or neonatal death, but um, myself and Kate lost three babies before we had our eldest, just through miscarriages. And no one can prepare you for a miscarriage. And I'm speaking on behalf of dads now, because obviously, as a dad, I couldn't think of anything worse than something happening to my girls. But to have it happen before they're even born is heartbreaking in itself. I remember we were pregnant with twins and we lost one, and then we lost the other, and we had to go to the doctors and be told basically that you've lost both. I remember trying to be as stoic and hard faced as possible so I could be the strong one in the relationship for Kate, because it must have been devastating for Kate, thinking the worst. Obviously, I can't have kids and whatnot, and it must have been the hardest moments. And I'm gonna admit, we've never really spoke about it too much. We never really spoke about it on the day. I remember dropping. We got to her mum and dad's. I walked her in. She went straight to the bedroom. I spoke to her brothers and was like, "Look, we've had some terrible news. So if you can make your sister feel as happy as possible, do as much as you can for her." And then I literally went and took a man minute in the car and cried my eyes out for a few minutes. And I'm not going to not admit that, because, you know, that is the body's function of dealing with sadness and tragedy, is to cry. So, all these people that say, "Oh, I don't cry, I bottle it up." Fuck off. Cry. You'll feel so much better. It's your body's way of getting rid of all the emotion that you need to get rid of. Cry. Um, but yeah, it's horrible. And the work that Sands do and the work that Sands United do for these men and women, amazing. So we want to give back to both causes. Rock2Recovery, obviously, myself dealing with mental health issues, and others that deal with mental health problems. But not only that, physical problems as well. They deal with everything that you can think of, mentally, physically, financially. Rock2Recovery are there to help and save lives. That's what they do. They save lives. And Sands obviously do what they do best, and that's help parents, grandparents through tragedy. And as I touched on, about Sands United getting people together with the love of football, and the majority of the country love football. I love football, and that's the reason why I wanted to do football match or matches now, is because I love football. And what better way to give back to charity than to do something that also you love? And for me and for the other lads that are based in Kent, FC Granite Zero is based all around the country, from Hereford, um, Suffolk, Essex, Kent. I believe there's somebody in the Midlands somewhere. Forgive me. Northern Ireland. Unfortunately, Brooksy won't be playing, but anyway, you know, on a Friday night we go down to training, and as soon as my feet step on the pitch, it's like all the stresses from the day, all the stresses from home, if there are any, all the stresses just from life, go away for that hour. 2 hours, 90 minutes of training, football, game, down the pub afterwards with the lads, just having that connection, having that bond, having that love for the beautiful game really manifests itself in helping you through whatever is going on. You can learn a lot through sport. You can learn a lot through football. You can go through the unbelievable highs of winning and the devastating lows of losing. You can go through anger, hate, aggression. But then you can also go through love, passion, excitement, all through one game. It teaches you everything that you need to do in life. And that's why I love football. And I love playing. You know, I used to be a decent player. I'm not quite the player I used to be. But, you know, that happens in life. You get older, you get slower, you get fatter, you know. But that's another thing, touching on what I mentioned earlier about going to the gym. I'm training as hard as possible for this game because I don't want to be the fat slob that comes off after 2 minutes worth of running. You know, yes, I let myself go a little bit, but that's started to come down. I've lost 2 stone. I've lost God knows how many inches. You know, my fucking trousers don't fit. My trousers don't fit anymore. I've had to get new pairs of trousers, new pairs of my fucking work suit starting to look a baggy on me. It's ridiculous. But again, just through the love of football, the love of training, get myself back into a happy mindset. You know, a lot of people talk now on Mental Health Awareness Week, and it's all depression and anxiety, eating disorders, drinking disorders, blah, 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 blah. The list can go on and on and on, and they make it sound as depressing as depression is. But the whole idea is to raise awareness for it, sure. But take people through the better, positive processes that get you from being Mr. Negative to being Mr. Happy and Mr. Positive. Mr. Negative tells you you're a piece of shit, you're worthless, your family hate you, you used to be cool, you used to be good, you used to be awesome. Now you're a piece of shit. That's what he does. Okay, cool. How can we get you out of that? How can we get you from being Mr. Negative on yourself to being Mr. Positive and taking a positive outlook on as much as possible? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. You get yourself into a group of people, positive, like-minded people, e.g., football team, 5-a-side, 6-a-side, rugby team, 7s, 15s, whatever. Hockey. Hate hockey, but girls, netball, basketball, you know, not just girls. Anyone can play netball. It's an average sport, I would say, but yeah, get yourself into a community, even darts, fuck's sake, darts, snooker, whatever. Get yourself into a community where you can talk, and it's a free space. You can talk, and you can talk, and you can talk, and you can talk, and that is the best way to get out of it. Case in point. And one of the best things I did in my life was start up the Granite Zero podcast and FC Granite Zero Football Club. That says the same thing. FC Granite Zero Football Club. That's what the FC stands for, dickhead. Granite Zero Football Club. FC Granite Zero Club. It's the Granite Zero Club. Anyway, they're the best things that I've done, and I've done a few things to aid in different charity causes. Spartan race, boxing match, football match. Football is always number one, and I hope that I can get as many people down on the 2nd of July as possible to the Gallagher Stadium, Maidstone. It's a Sunday. Please come down. Genuinely. It'll be a good day out. I've got some fantastic raffle prizes. It'll be good to see as many people as possible just to support the causes that we support. Again, Rock2Recovery, military veteran, blue light services, really do great work. Can't speak highly enough about them. And Sands, God forbid one day it happens to you and people like myself and Sands United aren't fundraising anymore, and it dissolves, and you need someone, because that's what could happen to any charity, military or civilian. They could dissolve and disappear, and then that help and hope also disappears. So I urge that people just give as little as you can, or as much as you can, whatever. I've put enough GoFundMe posts out there, and again with the tickets, I'll put them in this fucking episode as well. Get your tickets and come and see some absolute hunks run around for 90 minutes in some short shorts. Yeah? And you've got legs like bazookas like me, you're going to get some eyes on you. Get some eyes on you. And when you're built like an absolute tank, people come up to you and say, you should be a rugby player. I'm like, no. I'm like Fred Astaire on these feet. I'm light. I'm not light. I'm heavy as fuck. And I am built like a tank, and I will run through you and score. Could happen. It could happen. Stranger things have happened. But, I digress. This has been not as hard to talk as I thought it would be. But, that also being said, I would love to have a guest. Well, but who knows where we may go. I will be putting some more emails out. I will be talking to some more people. So there will be guests on the show. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening to me drone on. I don't know how long I've been going for. Probably about 10 minutes, but it feels like an hour. Yeah. But yeah, it's been good to get in on my own. And it's been good just to hear my own voice, man. Because who doesn't like the sound of their own voice? This guy does. That's why he does podcasts. One thing that has seemed to disappear is the hate that I get. So perhaps they're bored and got better things to do. So that's always a plus. But yeah, make sure you come down to 2nd of July. 2:00 kickoff. Gallagher Stadium, Maidstone. FC Granite Zero, repping Rock2Recovery, and Sands United, obviously repping Sands. Some fantastic raffle prizes. The bar will be open. Get the beers in. But yeah, come and support us. Help us support these amazing causes. And yeah, on that note, this has been the Granite Zero podcast. I've been Tommo. You've been beautiful. And I'll see you again soon. Hello! You're at the adverts. So don't turn off. Don't turn off, because I've got some good stuff for you. First up, I'm going to talk about our sponsors. Kent CBD is our first sponsor. Now, CBD oil, as you know, has tremendous benefits, especially within mental health and physical health. Personally, I use it to help with my anxiety and my depression. But not only that, I also use it to help with the aches and pains of life in my joints, especially my ankles and my knees. But yeah, without CBD oil, I would have still been on my antidepressant tablets, which I'm no longer on. So, every cloud. And what we're going to do here at Granite Zero is we're going to give you 10% off everything from oil, muscle rub, jellies, bath salts, the lot. Yeah? Make sure you get in there. www.kentcbd.org. Put in the promo code GRANITE0 and get yourself 10% off. You are welcome. But also, if you're like me and you love a nice cup of coffee. Now, for me, I only drink one coffee, and that's Green Beret coffee. Now, I don't only drink it because it's out of this world fucking coffee, roast to order, grinded to whatever specific grind you want. But not only that, it's veteran owned and veteran run, which, hits me right in the feels. So make sure you check it out, Green Beret coffee. Get yourself a nice cup of coffee. I drink it dark, just like my soul. Incredible stuff, incredible stuff. And what I'm going to give for you, I'm going to give you 10% off. So once you get to the checkout, once you've got all your coffee, your products, your apparel, whatever you need, get to the checkout and put in the promo code GZPodcast10 and get yourself 10% off. Courtesy of the Granite Zero podcast. You are welcome. Now, that's enough of me talking about this stuff. Back to the regular scheduled show. Check it out!